What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So, I've been pretty quiet on Game of Thrones stuff, mainly because I haven't actually been watching it because I wanted to binge watch it before the last episode. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch all of them like 1 to 5, and then when episode 6 comes out, I'll watch it with everyone because I hate waiting that week. So I was like, look, I'm gonna try and be tough. I'm gonna try and stay away from spoilers. I'm gonna try and be good and binge watch it all like in a night. And then when the final episode's ready to go, we're good. Like we'll watch it with everyone else. That it worked pretty much, except I did get spoiled on one thing. So before I say, just a quick heads up. This will be me basically spoiling pretty much every episode that's come out. So if you are like me and didn't want to watch them until everything was out, probably best to turn it off now. Okay? Fair warning. I am going to spoil everything. So, yeah. So I got spoiled on Dany. I got spoiled on her becoming Mad Queen, pretty much. Like, I just didn't know how bad it was. I did not know how bad it was. Damn. That girl, she went off the deep end. she went off the deep end. It was she took a turn. She took a turn. Right. So obviously there's a lot of drama behind this season. The writing, I think, of Game of Thrones has gotten steadily diminished as they moved away from the books. It seems to like they do big moments well, they do big things well, but it's the bits leading up to it they tend to struggle with. At least in my opinion, they set like character development and stuff can get a little bit wonky in places, and they try and this is popular, so we'll try and push that a little bit more, and people want to see that, so we'll do this. They do a little bit of that. But this season, I think and because also like most of the seasons now they have steadily been getting less and less episodes. I think this season is far too short for its own good. I think that is a major issue with this season because a lot about Game of Thrones is intrigue, tension, building up to a moment, building up to things, cliffhangers and all the rest of it. Because this season is so short, you have none of that. You have none of it. You can't, because literally the Battle of Winterfell is halfway through the season, and then we got to hit the road and go to King's Landing. Like it has to happen quick. It's boom, 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 boom. There's no time to chill out and set up things and have Cersei manipulating people and do what these characters are good at, and what people want to see and stuff like that. And it just doesn't happen. So big character changes, big character switches, and their motivations completely go off the AWOL and all the rest of it. Like because it's so short, they can't tell it properly because it's all rushed. It's all been just badly done, which I think they shot themselves in the foot for making it 6. So whoever's, I guess HBO, whatever, they wanted to go the big production and do it in a shorter scale. This is what happens. And I'm sure the actors now aren't exactly cheap to hire, cheap to be, to have. I think that a lot of them have made themselves quite big now, so having them on a TV show is probably quite pricey. Even though it's Game of Thrones. But I mean, that still doesn't excuse some of the bad writing. Like some of the stuff is atrocious. It's pretty bad. Like there's a petition out at the moment from over 500,000 people last time I saw of getting it redone, like petitioning HBO to do it. I don't think it's gonna happen, guys. I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, hopefully they can redeem it somewhat with a really good last episode. That's gonna be the thing. So, my thoughts on, from watching it all the way through, without any gaps, And also knowing that Dany goes crazy pretty much at the end. She goes off the deep end at the end. I will actually say having that spoiled for me actually kind of added to the view in a way, because I could see the small like moments where you can see Dany starting to unwind as you go through the season. As each episode happens, when these moments happen, you start to see her start, that crack. You start to see that facade of the good queen starting to crack and go. Because I mean, and it made me start to think like, on her in the past and like what we've seen of Daenerys and stuff. She has always struggled to be that good queen. She's always wanted to be that that person that will change the thing, break the wheel, all the rest of it, break her chains, all this stuff. She wants to free the world of tyrants, all this stuff. But she's always struggled to keep her anger and her power in check. Like she hates it being undermined. And a lot of monarchs are in this world hate that as well. I get that. But she will go big on a lot of things. Like Sam's father and brother, right? She didn't have to burn them alive, but she still did it. Like there are moments where she makes these choices which are very much on the Mad Queen side. But she's always got people to bring her back. She always had Jorah, she always had Missandei, she always had these people that will rally behind her and pull her back to the good side and keep her in check. And she's like, as this season's gone on, and it kind of started at the end of last season, the start of her fall, like it was steadily getting there, but her losing her first dragon, losing Viserion, basically her child, lost her first child. That is the start. Like she commits to coming up and helping Jon take down the White Walkers, and she loses one of her dragons. Then she loses Jorah. And then also before the Battle of Winterfell, she finds out Jon is a Targaryen as well. So she loses Jon too. Jon's now a threat. He's not this, this guy that she loves that will be with her and like this. He's the good one. He's gonna be good for me and all the rest of it. No, he's a threat now. She loses Jorah as well. Jorah has always been that moral compass in a way. Like he's always been that guy, that steady guy to be there for her when she needs him the most. Obviously he had that time when he was away and got disease and stuff, and he had to step away, got exiled and stuff like that. But he's always been there for her. And he was an absolute, like, the Mormonts in the Battle of Winterfell were amazing. they were the best. They were too good for this world. They were too good for Game of Thrones. They were that awesome. But Jorah's always been there for her. So she loses him. Then she loses Rhaegal as well. He gets sniped out of the air with the scorpions. Loses a second child. Then loses Missandei as well. Basically her best friend. It spirals. And you can see every time something happens. Every time she loses something. Every time her power is undermined. Every time it starts ticking and ticking and ticking. And because I knew she was going to go that way, that she was going to become the Mad Queen, I could see it a little more. Like I was on the lookout for it. I was waiting, like, okay, like there must be signs, there must be something. And they were there. They just were very minute and very small and often hidden behind big events and weren't explored much because everything has to get jam-packed into 6 episodes. So it's just poor planning. It's poor everything. It's not done well. You gotta be on the lookout for it, which is, yeah. So as you see her steady climb, and then like by the time you get to Bells, she is broken. She's broken. She was never gonna stop. She was never gonna stop. Like the whole thing with Tyrion saying like, if you hear the bells, stop the attack. They've given up. Stop. Like we cannot destroy this city and all the rest of it. She was never gonna stop. And I was so shocked how much she destroyed. Like she exceeded her father. And like you saw, like seeing those pockets of wildfire exploding, like that's her father's plan coming to fruition. She's fulfilling her father's plan, essentially. His like do or die plan is like in this madness. And like she has just eviscerated a city. There are women, children, innocent people, not only soldiers, like everyone, just melted corpses. People just scarred and burnt and homeless and crushed. All of it. There is no coming back. There is no coming back. There's no explaining it. There's no like, oh, like I just like no. It ain't. Like she has to go full on villain now. She has to. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. They have to pit Jon and her against each other. It's just what's gonna happen. Like I don't know if he could take one of Drogon's fire things. I don't think that's gonna happen. But I wonder if Drogon might not attack him. That's gonna be an interesting thing. Like, how powerful do they make Jon? Because Jon's another one, right? Jon is another one here that he has this entire season bent over backwards for Daenerys. He's just, my queen, you're my queen, you're my queen, like constantly. He's constantly trying to reinforce, like, I don't want to rule, you're my queen. Like, it's not until she's literally burning down King's Landing that he's like, oh, this is what they meant. Because, like, Jon has made those tough decisions before. Like, he was the one who literally let the wildlings through the wall. He was the first watch commander to do that. And he died for it. And, like, so he's made these tough decisions before. But in this, he's kind of wimpy in a way. Like, I get it, you love Daenerys, but then you find out that she's your aunt, and it gets a little weird and stuff, and she's still into it, but you're not quite, and it's a little bit off, and yeah, like, I don't know, man, because, like, it's very weird, like, what they've done with Jon. Like, he has his moments. He has his, like, raw moments, and he's you know, a badass and stuff. And it just doesn't translate through, and all it makes him out to be is like he's constantly bending over backwards with Daenerys. And I mean, like, I can understand up to the Battle of Winterfell because they needed Daenerys for the Battle of Winterfell. If they did not have her with those dragons, they would not have lasted. Arya couldn't have shadow stepped through and killed the Night King, and we'll get into that. If the Unsullied and the Dothraki and the dragons and everything were there to hold them back long enough to do that. So I get the whole groveling for that part, but after that, like it's every time it's like, Jon, stop being an idiot, for God's sake. For once, please, in this entire season, please stop. But yeah, he's just, I'm hopefully, like, now they're like, because he basically turned into Ned. Like, he was loyal to Daenerys, so he was doing silly things to prove that loyalty all the time. Like, sort of like that honor he has, like, I cannot go against it. It's like, dude, like, she's going off the deep end. You may need to step in here. Like, literally, like, Varys is being burnt alive, saying something's wrong with her. And he just stands there. I couldn't believe that. Like, John, say something. Like, this is Varys. Like, you've been talking to this guy. He's been helping you. And you just stood there. I'm like, yeah, it's her decision. I can't do anything about it. Like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hopefully he has a little bit of redemption in this last one. Because you know this last episode is going to be all about Jon and Daenerys. Like, they are going to be the focus of this whole thing. Especially now that Cersei's out and all the rest of it. It's like that those two are going to be the ones going at it. For the Iron Throne, or if Jon doesn't even want it, he may even just say, like, F it, I'm out of here. I'm going north. I'm going beyond the wall. Laters. I'm going with the free folk. They know how to live. I'm gone. Wouldn't surprise me. But, yeah. So, yeah. So, like, Dany turning Mad Queen, going crazy, eviscerating the city. I mean, like, that episode, like, the Clegane Bowl was awesome. I loved that. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the whole thing with Arya being there was pointless, but only to show what was happening on the ground and how just, like, crazy it was on the ground. Like, just people being crushed, thrown around, blasted, roasted, all of it. Like, her being there was kind of pointless, except to show that. Oh, and to find the horse. Like, they had this very long moment with a horse. It was very strange. But yeah, like, I was kind of hoping she may have had a bit of like she ran into Cersei or something, or I don't know. I would have liked a showdown between, like, say, Jaime going there and protecting Cersei against Arya. Then I would have liked the whole weird fight between Jaime and Euron Greyjoy. I was like, this is just weird. Like, okay, you're fighting each other. He's boasting that he banged Cersei. Cool. Like, I don't know. That was a whole weird thing there too. And we'll get into Jaime too. They messed around with him a ton. So speaking of Arya, like, the whole Battle of Winterfell thing. The Night King is a one-trick pony. That's what he is. He's a one-trick pony. He can raise the dead and walk around. That's basically what... Oh, and throw a spear. He can throw a spear. I actually wanted them to lose the Battle of Winterfell. Like, somehow escape, obviously. Like, I don't want them all turning dead. But I would have liked them to have lost the Battle of Winterfell. To have to retreat from Winterfell, get the heck out, run south, and have this impending doom marching south all the way. To, like, the final episode is like, we gotta beat this guy because we got nowhere else to go. We got nowhere else to go. We are trapped. We all got to come together. We all got to fight this out. And then, I don't know, they'd have to figure out how to, like, who's on throne by the end of it or something like that. That makes the White Walkers like this just unstoppable force that everyone has to come together to fight. But in the end, like, once they broke through the wall, they got to their first big battle and they lost. They lost. And the Night King basically just waltzed around. Oh, that's Jon? Boop. Deal with them minions. Walked around. Oh, there's more. Boop. Deal with the minions. Like, it's all he did. And it was so pointless. It was so, like, boring. I would have liked to see... I wanted to see the showdown between him and Jon. I would have liked to see... Like, Jon doesn't have to win. I wouldn't even mind if Jon loses. Like, I would actually want Jon to lose. Like, he get beat up and like, he has to get away, or, like, he has to run, like, whatever. Like, he's just... The Night King's too powerful. You can't deal with him. And then like Arya's ninja steps and freaking stabs him. But at least you could see the power of the Night King. Like all this build up about him, all this build up and everything like that. You would actually see his power. Like, oh damn, like this guy, he's like the Thanos of this world. He's the Thanos of this world. He's the unstoppable force that everyone has to come together to stop. There is no holding back here. But nah, he just like walks up, has a bit of a staring match with Bran, who did absolutely nothing. And yeah, Arya, whew, a little bit of hair flickers and, well, no, stabs. She gets grabbed, drops the knife, stab. Oh, and all his knight buddies that are behind him, they do nothing. They're not out there fighting or anything like that. They just rock up again. They just walk along all cool like. It was disappointing. Like I liked the battle. I loved the battle because you could see the desperation because there was no stopping them. It was literally like they had all this army. They had the biggest army probably in the world at the time, and they couldn't stop them because it's this overwhelming force of undead who don't flinch, who just throw themselves at you. Like there's no like, oh, I got to dodge. There's no hesitation. They just full force, boom, at you. Not afraid to get stabbed. Not afraid to do anything, because there's nothing there. It's crazy, and like you see them on the walls. Like at the end, they're like fighting them back. They're pinned at the wall. They're surrounded and stuff. Like that was great. I love that. But in a way, I would have liked them to have lost and somehow gotten out, and been like say the main few got out. Or like they pulled enough of the army back because obviously they still got to do King's Landing and stuff. And then like that's the ominous threat that is just continually moving south throughout the entire season. And then the last episode is when they have to deal with it. They absolutely have to deal with it. Everyone has to deal with it. That would have been cool. Like, and all the houses have to come together to fight this one thing. That would have been awesome. But no. They wanted, again, because there's not enough time, they can't do it. They can't do anything like that because there's only 6 episodes. Because by the time Battle of Winterfell's done, they got to head south. They got to go do King's Landing now. So, that's a shame. It's a shame. And I mean, like, even the first 2 episodes acted like they had, like, a 12-episode season. They didn't really do all that much. Except Knight Brienne. But it served no purpose. It served no purpose. Except to say, like, oh yeah, Jaime's kind of got a thing for Brienne. And then they put those two together, and then Jaime's just like halfway through the night, after having a good time with Brienne, is like, you know what? I'm going to go back to Cersei. And then just goes. Oh. That whole redemption arc for Jaime just went up in smoke. It went up in smoke. But, you know, literally, one decision, like one thing, he was just like he's fought with Brienne, he's fought there, he's doing something good, like he's doing all this, and you can see him, like he's walking around, he's kind of feeling right about things, and literally he's sitting there going like, you know what? I miss Cersei. I'm going home. It's so bad, man. It's so bad. I mean, I get it. Like, his kid and stuff. Like, she's pregnant and stuff. And it's like, I gotta save her and, like, try and get her out and stuff. But, I don't know. Cersei, like, I think Cersei was a victim of not having enough time. Because she is a character, like, her biggest power is, like, manipulation, right? She manipulates, she formulates these plans, she, she sort of worms her way into things, gains power, gains, trust of people, and that's how she builds this, like, builds everything she has. And that's what's most dangerous about it. She slithers into things and corrupts it and makes it her own. But in this season, she had no time to do that. There is no time. Because the first half of the season is all dealing with the Nightwalkers in the Battle of Winterfell. And then it's, boom, we're straight into King's Landing. And, like, the only thing she's got is, or the Iron Fleet. And then she got the Golden Army to come over and help. And then that's it. Like, she can't, there's no scenes of her, like, trying to manipulate houses, trying to get in more people, trying to do this and that. I'm trying to manipulate things. The one plan that worked was the ambush at Dragonstone, which took down Rhaegar. But even that, it was like, boom, they do it. They destroy half the fleet of Daenerys' of ships. And then they disappeared. It just finished. It cut and went back to King's Landing. And Euron's like, yo, I took down Dragon. You want to bang? Like, that was it. That was it. And it was like, hang on a minute. You literally had them all beat. They're like swimming up on shore. You have these unstoppable ballistas just wrecking ships, just tearing them apart. You somehow steal Missandei. I don't know when that happened. It all just happened in an instant. And yeah, like that needed more time. That needed more showing. That needed a reason why you would retreat. You had an opportunity to completely wreck the Unsullied, and you just rolled out. You just went back home because you wanted to boast you took down a dragon, I guess. I don't know. That was a weird thing. But yeah, like that's her one plan that really worked. Everything else, once the Scorpions went down, and I mean, like everyone was like, "Oh man, well, like the Scorpions were so powerful in one part, and then in the next episode they were so useless." I mean, the tactic of like coming in the sun, coming down fast. Drogon is the fastest. He is he's the biggest, but he's the strongest, fastest, and probably one of the most maneuverable. And she's damn dead determined. Like there's no probably stopping her at this point. Comes in high, comes down, dives bomb essentially. Pretty standard dive bomb tactic, and then staying low fast, and then staying low as well, coming up to the wall, forced them up to point their ballistas down. So that made them weird for reloading and stuff. I mean, you could see they were trying to show that, but they didn't. They should have explained that. Like, have just a random soldier like talk like, "Oh damn, it's in the blind spot," or like, you know, have like when they were planning the attack on King's Landing, say, "All right, these scorpion things, like this is what they are. This is what they do. This is how they like get the knowledge, right?" And then explain how they're going to exploit this. Not just have Daenerys wreck everything after literally, you know, you just saw these scorpions wreck everything before that. Again, more time, more explanation, maybe better planning of these things would have been nice. But I mean, once those scorpions were gone, there was no stopping Daenerys. Like, what's going to stop her? Nothing. There is nothing that can stop a dragon just blasting everything. Like, her hope was like, you know what, she might be merciful if we put a whole bunch of civilians around. And once Daenerys' mercy was gone, like once she's gone mad, there is no stopping her. So she can't do anything. And yes, her breaking down and saying, I don't want to die. Even the strongest like that. And Cersei's kind of been that way, because remember, like, there was the whole remember she was in the cellar with her kids and that she had the poison, and there is that, she does have that maternal side, and she does have that, like, everything she does is to not die and stuff. And I could imagine her breaking down, but it was not a good way to send her off, and especially to get crushed by rocks. I was like, oh. But yeah, I just don't think there was enough time to flesh Cersei out in this one. It was like, look, you know Cersei, you know what she does. She's the target. She's the focus for Daenerys. That's it. That's it. She's kind of just thrown out there, which was a bit of a shame. It was a bit of a shame. Like this villainess who's been there this entire time, and she's, you know, wormed her way to the top, and we've seen her rise. We saw her fall and rise, and like all this stuff. Like we've seen all of it, and it's a sad way to go out for her. Sad way. Her and Jamie was just Jamie, man. It was a poor choice. It was a poor choice. In a way, I can understand it because he's like trying to save his kid. Like that's probably the big thing of it, and like Cersei probably is his one true love in a way. He's a sucker for punishment, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, that's me all rambling about Game of Thrones. Overall, man, like there are some entertaining moments throughout this season. They have done some of the big stuff quite well. Production value, the acting, the music, all that stuff's great. All that stuff is great. It's all about the storytelling. It's all about the small things. The small things explaining the big things. Like what we're kind of used to in the earlier Game of Thrones, and setting things up. Like the intrigue, the suspense, the tension, like seeing something that was set up in one episode and about like 5 episodes later it comes to fruition or whatever. Like all of that stuff, it's just not there because I tell you what it feels like. It feels like Game of Thrones was canceled last year, right? Well, not last year, like last season, right? It feels like it was canceled, and they're like, damn, we actually have to wrap this thing up real quick. Okay. We're gonna do like in the TV shows do this sometimes, right? Whether it's a popular show gets canceled, and like, look, we're gonna do like a 2-hour finale, like event, like to sort of wrap all things up. It feels like that, except because it's Game of Thrones, it's six episodes. It feels similar to that, like trying to like wrap it all up very quickly. And not elegantly, not to what the show is. Just, it's a shame. It's a real shame. Like, for a show as good as it's been over all these years, seasons go up and down in quality, obviously. But overall, it's sad the way it's going. I hope that this last episode is damn good, sends it out with a bang. It sort of wraps everything up and explains some things, so we can all kind of like, okay, we can all let it go now. But they haven't given us much hope. And also because I'm a Star Wars fan, I'm very worried about D&D kind of having all this power over some Star Wars stuff, and I'm like, oh, please come out with like a big thing for your finale and kind of restore some stuff about you, please. I'm really kind of worried about that as a Star Wars fan. But yeah. Alright guys, it's going to be it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you're new here, have a look around the channel. See what you like. I normally do gaming stuff, but Game of Thrones is kind of something I'm into, and I kind of do stuff that I'm into sometimes. When I have something to talk about, I tend to want to do some videos and stuff. But yeah, I normally do gaming stuff. So have a look around, see what you like. If you do, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Big thank you to all the subs and stuff, all the new ones coming in. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much. All the kind comments and stuff you guys do is really cool to see. So thank you very much. And yeah. All right, guys. Catch you later. Peace. Bye.